Good morning, everyone. Will Dupree here in the KXAN live studio. It's our job as reporters to pay attention to the little things, those details that maybe somebody else might miss. And something that we saw very recently at an Austin City Council meeting caught one of our reporters' eyes. So we want to bring her in now to talk about her coverage on this. And of course, I'm talking about Alyssa Goard. She's one of our reporters here at KXAN. Good morning, Alyssa.
Hi, Will. Thank you for having me today.
Thank you for being here. One thing we want to talk about is that Austin City Council, you cover it a lot. You see these same city council members sitting up on the dais, meeting after meeting after meeting, and you noticed something fairly recently about what they were wearing. What was that exactly?
Well, last week we had 3 meetings in a row talking about the Land Development Code, and I noticed a couple different city council members who all had the same dangly earrings. And so in my camera viewfinder, I kind of tried to look closer and figure out what exactly the earrings were that they were wearing. And so after all the votes had happened, I followed up and asked them what earrings they were wearing. And it turns out that all 7 of the women on the council all have matching earrings, and then Councilmember Jimmy Flanagan has a matching accessory to that as well.
Yeah, and if you guys want to take a look, this is the item that we're talking about, these earrings right here. And Alyssa, you saw these dangling from several other ears, right?
Right. So these are inspired by U.S. Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. She's become somewhat of a pop culture icon, especially as different movies and documentaries have been made about her and her work in recent years. And Justice Ginsburg wears particular collars for different days when she votes on things. And she has gotten some notoriety for a particular collar that she wears when she's going to dissent from a majority opinion. And there's been a lot of actually commercial products that have been sold sort of emulating her dissent collar. And it turns out that Austin City Council member Leslie Poole said that back in the spring of 2019, she went out and purchased some accessories for a bunch of the council members that were all inspired by that dissent collar, because they were all in turn inspired by Justice Ginsburg.
Can you remind people where, what meeting this was happening at where you noticed these?
Yes, this was at the discussion about the first reading of the city's Land Development Code. And it's particularly interesting to me because at that meeting I saw council members Kathy Tovo, Allison Alter, and Natasha Harper Madison wearing the earrings, and Councilmember Leslie Poole had been wearing them on one of the prior days, and there may have been some more that I didn't see who were wearing them, but those were the ones who I saw. And what was interesting to me was that all 4 of those women didn't vote the same. Natasha Harper Madison voted for the approval of the first reading of the Land Development Code. The other 3 voted against it, and yet they all had the same earrings. And so I started asking some more questions about it, and I found that all of these women had individual reasons that they said that they kind of felt pulled to Justice Ginsburg and her legacy, and were inspired by the work that she did and the discrimination that she overcame in law school, and then in going to get to the level where she could be on the Supreme Court. And part of what's interesting to me about that is the whole reason it's possible that you can have 8 different members of a city council who are wearing jewelry that's inspired by one of the more liberal justices on the Supreme Court is because Austin City Council is progressive right now. Austin's council is not a partisan body in that they don't, during elections, they don't run as Republicans or Democrats. However, every member of the 11-person council right now is progressive, and you can see that when you notice the Ruth Bader Ginsburg inspired jewelry that a lot of them wear. And it's something that I think ties in with a lot of the issues that the city is trying to tackle, that this whole council is trying to tackle right now, that all definitely are tied with some of the progressive values that a lot of these council members ascribe to.
So it is a very kind of subtle statement to make. I mean, normally people wouldn't be looking that closely at what they were wearing, but something about it caught your eye, and then you just asked some questions about it and found out that they are wearing indeed the same kind of jewelry. I want you to take a look right here. This is a picture. As you said, all the women and then Jimmy Flanagan on the council have these jewelry, some kind of part of this jewelry, the same kind of thing. Explain what we're looking at here in this picture.
So at this particular picture, this is from Councilmember Jimmy Flanagan's Facebook page, and this was during the spring when the state government was working to approve some of the revenue caps, and the city government was very vocally opposed to that because they believe that those revenue caps will limit the amount of money the city will be able to use towards the different things that the city feels like its priorities are. And basically on that particular day, on that picture, they were all wearing their Ruth Bader Ginsburg dissent style jewelry to basically say that they dissent to the state revenue caps. And at a time where in Texas, a lot of the tensions between more conservative members of state government and some of the more progressive urban city governments are really palpable. This is another really visible example of a city government trying to make a very solid stance about where they are and what kind of message they want to send to the rest of the state.
When you asked the city council members about this, were they surprised that you had caught that similar thing they were all wearing?
Some of them were. Some of them said that a couple other people had noticed that.
Okay.
And the reality is all of them said that they had little rituals. Like if you think about like a sports player, like a professional sports player who is going into a game, there are rituals that the council members all said they had before going into an important vote or something like that. And so each of the council members said that the earrings were in some way part of their ritual for getting set up for the vote or in the frame of mind or thinking about the things that they wanted to be thinking about as they were headed into council. But they thought of it as one of a couple different ways they sort of got them in the frame of mind they wanted to be in to make the votes.
Now, we've been talking, if you're just joining us on our live stream right now, we have Alyssa Goard here, who is at Austin City Hall quite a bit, covering different stories and different issues that are being voted upon there. We do have some sound as well that you got yesterday, some interviews with a couple different city council members. I want to play this soundbite that you sent me from Leslie Poole. So if you just give us a second, everybody, you can listen to this soundbite and then we'll come back here and talk about it.
Our country seems really divided, especially at the national level and at the state level. These little earrings are just kind of a small way to show that we are united here in Austin. And even though issues that we address are really challenging for our constituencies, we have their best interests at heart, and we're united in moving forward.
Again, that was Councilmember Leslie Poole there. Alyssa, you again had asked them about these earrings, about this jewelry that they're wearing, these accessories, and it was basically to send a progressive message that they are united in that front.
Right, and the reality is local politics does get divisive. It does get really contentious, and there have been moments, definitely in the last year, where individual city council members have had really different opinions from one another about what the best move forward is, and that's definitely true. But when I asked people about why they had purchased and then worn the Ruth Bader Ginsburg inspired jewelry, all of them had said that for them, it also reflects a sort of a unity of message, that they're committed to the same type of message. And in particular, what a lot of the council members noted is that looking up to a female Supreme Court justice also was a reminder for them that Austin City Council is a female majority council right now. And Councilmember Leslie Poole was telling me that it has been a female majority council for the last 5 years. And so a lot of the women on the council were very proud of that. And they actually said that over the course of the last year, they've been working to get connected to other women who are leaders, whether it's Travis County commissioners or the AISD school board or like the district attorney or the sheriff, to gather the female political leaders to talk and kind of share that energy together. And so for many of the people we spoke with, including Councilmember Poole, those earrings symbolize that sort of pride that we've gotten to a point where we can have a lot of really strong female leaders in local government.
Sure. We also have one more soundbite that you had collected yesterday from Natasha Harper Madison. So I want you all to take a listen to this as well.
I think it's important to recognize that Austin is in a really good position for transformation and change. Our pastor says a thing. He says, the veil is thin right now. And I think when the veil is thin, it's us as a community recognizing that collectively we have work to do. It's easy enough to stand around and be empathetic, but empathy doesn't produce action. Action is produced when we realize collectively that it's our problem. These are our problems. These are our issues. And then we work together to fix them. And I think Austin is in a really sweet spot right now to fix some problems that we've had for a long time.
And that was an interview with Natasha Harper Madison that Alyssa Goard here did with her yesterday. And you can see in the picture in the middle of your screen there, she is wearing them on the dais. We are live right now on KXAN.com and the KXAN News app, as well as Facebook. So we're looking at some of the live comments that people have been leaving. And some people are asking, why should we care about this? Why is this news exactly? But Alyssa, this is paying attention to the details, something in addition to what's happening at the City Council. This is related to that.
Yeah, this stands to have significant impacts on city policy. So what the earrings and the Ruth Bader Ginsburg inspired jewelry signifies is that with a city council that is entirely progressive and is united on those fronts, they will continue to move towards progressive policies and ideals as they all continue to be in office, moving towards advancing things like public transit and sustainability, and continuing the council has determined that addressing homelessness is its top priority. Moving forward on all of those things, you can expect to continue, and there are a lot of examples where this council has been unified. And I actually went and spoke with a professor, Don Kettle, over at the Lyndon B. Johnson School of Public Affairs at UT yesterday, and one of the things that he was explaining is that across the country we are seeing more and more people who are moving to cities, and that a lot of city governments are becoming increasingly liberal, increasingly progressive, and pulling at a kind of tension that's been there for more than 100 years between state governments, which the state governments often try to rein them in. And what Professor Kettle was telling me is that Austin is one of the strongest examples across the entire country of the tension that can exist between a more traditional state government and a more progressive city council, both trying to decide what amount of state control and local autonomy you should have. And you can expect that this kind of progressivism you're seeing on the city council will play out and will impact that discussion about politics both in Austin and in Texas for years to come.
Not only signaling a direction for the city, but also kind of at play with what's happening statewide, that there are different political views and ideas about how the state should move forward, competing with something as big as the city of Austin. Again, Alyssa Goard joined us here, and we were talking about these jewelry items that you see in the center of your screen there that a lot of the city council members wear on the dais. Do they, one final question before we wrap up our live feed and we end this a little bit, do they wear these on a particular vote? Do they have a preference about what kind of issues they wear these earrings on?
Most of the folks who I talked with who had the Ruth Bader Ginsburg inspired jewelry said that they would wear them on days when there was a significant vote. There were different reasons. Some said that they would wear them on days that they wanted to feel particularly strong. Others said that they would wear them on days that marked kind of a political milestone for them personally. But regardless, I think on high stakes days or on days when they were really thinking about what it means to be someone in politics, a woman in politics, or an ally for women in politics, those would be kind of days where they would wear those accessories.
Alyssa Goard, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you all for watching as well. Alyssa is at City Council quite a bit and is not only covering these kinds of things, but is following the Land Development Code votes and homelessness updates on those kinds of issues. So this was just one other thing she noticed while at one of the meetings, and then reported that out, and it's gotten quite a bit of attention on our website as well. So Alyssa, if people wanted to find this story, they can go over to our website and look at it, and the KXAN News app too.
Absolutely. We have some more details over there as well.
All right. Well, Alyssa, again, thank you for joining us. Thank you all for watching at home, too, on all of our live streaming platforms. We appreciate that. We hope you all enjoy the rest of your Wednesday and have a great one. See you guys later.